So 20% is what we ended up seeing this week from the first mission of SPCE Virgin Galactic. If you guys take a look at the chart, the measuring tool, it's showing 20% from the time that we posted the video on Monday talking about SPCE being a potential opportunity for the stock to explode. Now, did we think that it could go higher than what we saw? Absolutely, just because of the launch situation. But did we see that? Absolutely not. We actually saw selling happen right when the launch began, right? And this is just a typical example of buy the rumors, sell the news, right? And it could have gone either way. That's one of those things in the market that you can't really predict. You can just prepare, and that's why we have risk management in place to protect our downside and take advantage of the profits, right? So if you guys got in on this move that we talked about, congratulations. If you guys didn't, not to worry, there is still some good news. So that's kind of what we wanted to talk about in this video, give you guys a quick recap of how it performed this week and what we should expect in the weeks and months to come. So 20% happened pretty much Tuesday to Wednesday, and then into the after hours. And then as soon as it opened on Thursday, we saw a drop pretty much equivalent to what we saw rise, right? Now you might be saying, how is it that you think that, it's not as bad as it looks? Well, the thing is, if we look at the 4-hour chart, we're actually more so on the oversold side now than the overbought side. And every time we've seen this oversold area come into play, we've actually seen a run up happen to the upside. And if you guys can see that we actually saw this rejection here take place from that previous resistance that we saw form a couple weeks before that. So again, when we're oversold, we start seeing rallies to the upside. Oversold right here, saw a rally to the upside, right? Oversold right over here, start seeing a rally to the upside. And we're looking at the 4-hour chart. Now, if we look at where we're actually forming a higher low, which is a good sign for the stock, and it's a good sign going into the future weeks and months, right? And we're going to get into some of the news and some of the decisions that are going to be made and events that are going to take place with the stock that I think are going to propel this even higher. So whether you're trading, if you're trading, you had that opportunity to take advantage of that 20% move and just get out. If you're investing in this stock or swing trading this stock for a longer period, there is still some good news. So looking at the RSI, we are once again in this oversold territory. Now we are starting to look like we're evening out here on the MACD in terms of convergence, right? Almost said consolidation, but we are beginning to consolidate, and we'll see that on a smaller time frame. So again, oversold here, and we did just reach this mean line. So these dotted lines are the standard deviations. The worst case scenario that we'll see is we come back down to the support line here at, I think it's about 330. I would say probably 333, 350 or 333, probably 350 is right up here. So 333, that's the worst case scenario, in my opinion, which is not too far considering that we're at 388. So honestly, it's really not that bad. And if you guys do have the capital, this would be a great time to consider averaging in right around here. And so that's for those trading long-term or investing or swing trading this play, right? So let's get to the nitty-gritty and then talk about some of the events that are coming up. So their next flight is scheduled for August. And as you guys can see, every time there's a flight announcement or a flight taking place, the stock does tend to rally. So our next target moving forward is going to be this zone right up here, which is because it was previous resistance, right? And so that's going to be around that 630 zone, I would say, 630 to 660. That general area right over here is going to be our next target to the upside if we begin to rally. And so that's going to probably take place over the next couple of weeks, right? Going into August, getting ready for August, there's going to be a lot more talk about the exact stock. And again, this is upside target, downside target, meaning our support that we're looking at is around 333, and that's what we're expecting to stick around to if we do come down lower. Do I think we're going to head lower? I personally do not think that we're going to head all the way down, just because we are already oversold. And if we take a look at the MACD on smaller time frames, it looks like we are starting to level out. So I anticipate we're going to probably consolidate right around here. And then going into August, we're probably going to start seeing more uptick to the upside and potentially start figuring out levels right up here. So if we break this zone right up here, which was previous support from over here, then that next target to the upside is going to be right up here. So we're going to watch this zone first, which is going to be that $5 zone which is where we got rejected here on this recent rally, going into the market or going into the launch, and we'll see where we go from there. So that's going to be that first target to the upside. Again, it's mostly because we are oversold. So no matter how you look at it, it does look like it is going to be a pretty good deal to get in, even now, even after this post-launch price drop that we saw. Now, going into some smaller time frames, looking at the 1 hour chart, as you guys can see right over here, we actually see that we are starting to consolidate. This drop is kind of starting to fade out. And so we are starting to level out. And so once we do level out, I do anticipate that we're going to start seeing more consolidation, more sideways price action, and then potentially a move to the upside in anticipation of the August launches. Now, what's so important about the August launches, or the launch that starts in August, is the fact that after August, they are planning to do monthly launches. So there's going to be constant conversation about Virgin Galactic moving forward. This was their first launch. And I'm not too sure why they're taking a 2-month break between them, but this was more of a research launch. And then August is going to be more commercial for the people that did pay to take these flights. And they are backlogged by about 800 people. So they have 800 tickets sold already that they need to do these missions for. And I think they're taking like 4 or 5 people up at a time. So it's going to be a while, and there's going to be a lot of launches going on and a lot of missions taking place and a lot of conversation coming up. So I did want to bring that to your guys' attention. These 20% moves that we did see from Monday, I mean, that's not going to be uncommon to see, I think, with these launches taking place. So just something for you guys to consider. I will keep you guys updated in terms of what we're expecting to see moving forward, but that's kind of just the breakdown. Going into smaller timeframes isn't going to be very helpful, but the 4-hour chart is really what's going to tell you guys the most, right? And so again, if we're forming a new level right over here and we do hold support right over there, we're going to be looking at a higher low. We're going to know more next week when the mission kind of fades out. Price really stabilizes, because we haven't really seen that. But the worst case scenario, like I told you guys, is going to be down here at this 330 zone. And then to the upside, that next level is going to be around that $6 zone, $6.20, $6.30 zone, and up to 660, which was previous resistance to the upside. So that's going to be some levels for you guys to watch to the upside, to the downside. The current situation is that we are going into a consolidation period. And so zooming into this tinted area, I want you guys to notice this was actually the consolidation zone that we were in before we saw this massive rally that was about 50% just a few weeks back. And so now we're kind of back in that consolidation period and in that consolidation zone. So that's going to be a good zone to pay attention to for us to kind of find stability in price action. We are at the mean if you're looking at the volume profile level. So this is really where you want to stick around. And in terms of standard deviations, we're also at the mean. Worst case scenario is at the -1 standard deviation. Best case scenario where we see that rally take place is between 2.5 and 3 standard deviations. And so again, I think that those higher price points is something that we're going to start seeing closer to August. And that's really because of the launch. In terms of right now, I think the fact that, they decided that they're going to be selling more shares to raise capital, and the fact that we saw the submersible, the Titan, if you guys heard about that, implode, and we actually saw that have a bit of a correlation with how the price action reacted to SPCE, just because they're both kind of on those extreme travel, tourism verticals, I would say, or horizons, right? So those two effects, I think, are going to fade. And the fact that the excitement around these launches being more consistent on a monthly basis after August are going to start kicking in. So the negative news is all kind of behind us. Unless something happens, I don't see the price action pushing lower. And in contrast, I actually think that we're going to start seeing a move closer to that $6 range within the next month through July and into August. And then as August starts kicking in and those monthly flights start kicking in, I think that we're going to start seeing more of an excitement around the stock and more price action and more rallying going on with the stock. So hopefully you guys found value in this video. If you guys did, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. If you guys aren't subscribed, we do these videos every single Monday for a market update. And kind of a brief for what's upcoming. So that's what we did on Monday. And we called out that 20% move that we saw in SPCE. And on Fridays, we usually do a recap, a quick lesson, or we do post a speech that was very important throughout that week. So if you guys do find value in any of that, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys on Monday.